Probably the best way for most people to take CBD is in a tincture. A tincture is very readily absorbed underneath the tongue, easily applied, and quickly goes into the system. However, not all tinctures are the same, and choosing the right one can quite often be confusing. In this segment of CBD with DB, I'm going to help you out by explaining the basics of tinctures. The first thing to understand is that a tincture is essentially a concentrated solution designed to be readily absorbed by the body. We take our key ingredients and we dissolve them in a carrier liquid that the body readily accepts. These carrier liquids fall into three essential categories. The first one is going to be alcohols. Alcohols actually do a great job of absorbing cannabinoids directly out of the plant. If we take high potent cannabis, put it right into the alcohol and let it steep for a period of time, it'll do a great job of absorbing all that goodness out and making a nice broad spectrum tincture. However, alcohol really isn't the best carrier vehicle for the cannabinoids into our system, and a lot of people are very uncomfortable with alcohol-based products. The second group of carrier liquids would be vegetable glycerins. Glycerin actually does a great job also of dissolving the compounds directly out of the plant and makes for a better carrier vehicle into the body than alcohol does. However, some people do also experience negative reactions from glycerin. Usually this comes in the form of stomach upset, stomach digestion problems, gas, bloating, diarrhea, sometimes even nausea and headaches. So unfortunately, it also is not the ideal carrier vehicle. The third group of carrier liquids would be vegetable oils. Vegetable oils don't do a good job of dissolving the products directly out of the plant, but if we have a concentrate, vegetable oils actually dissolve that very well. Vegetable oils also make for very good carriers into the body. The most common that we come across would be hemp seed oil and coconut oil. Hemp seed oil is very common because of, well, the obvious association with the cannabis plant. Coconut oil is quite often used because, well, it works very well. It's got a nice mild taste to it. It's also got a very low cost factor involved. However, there are still some people that are allergic to coconut oil as well. Other oils like olive oil, primrose oil, avocado oil, or even grapeseed oil are also used. They all have their advantages and drawbacks. Usually the drawback is that they're just plain too expensive to be using on a regular basis. Now, many of today's tinctures are just cannabis extracts. However, more and more manufacturers are starting to fine-tune their products by adding extra ingredients aimed at augmenting or supplementing the desired effect. For example, we might find valerian root and melatonin mixed with CBD in a tincture that is designed to help as a sleep aid. Or we might find capsaicin and turmeric added to a product so that it'll help with better anti-inflammatory aspects to go along with that CBD. Peppermint is another great additive to CBD if we're trying to deal with anxiety. So it's always good to look at those extra ingredients, look at the intended use on the tincture, and as we look at those extra ingredients, they should have some function leading towards that intended use. Other than that, they're just going to be a flavorant, which is acceptable, or they're a filler. If we can't identify what those products are, we might want to question the manufacturer or the provider of that product. The next thing you need to evaluate is the total contents of the bottle. How much CBD is in there? Somewhere on the label, it should give you an indication whether it out and out actually says 500 milligrams of CBD, or does it say nighttime 1,000, implying that there's 1,000 milligrams in there. Unfortunately, due to banking regulations today, a lot of manufacturers are actually removing the CBD and milligrams from their labels so that they can continue to sell them online. This makes it actually very confusing, but there should be some indication as to how much is actually supposed to be in there. Now, most people would recommend that an average dose per serving would be 10 milligrams. So whatever's on that bottle, if it's 1,000 divided by 10, you're getting roughly 100 servings out of that bottle, and that can give you an indication of how long it's going to last you. Most people will only need 1 or 2 servings a day. Some people may need several servings depending on what it is that you're trying to deal with. Now, Once you've picked a tincture, you need to know a few things about actually using a tincture. Tinctures are technically called a sublingual, meaning it's meant to be absorbed underneath the tongue. Well, realistically, anywhere in the mouth will work just fine, with the top of the tongue being the worst absorption and actually the side of the cheeks being the best absorption. Secondly, you need to understand you actually need to absorb the whole thing through your mouth. The number one question that I get people using a tincture for the first time is, how long do they have to hold it in their mouth before they can swallow it? Well, if you think about it, if you swallow it, you're not absorbing it sublingually, you're digesting it. So you actually need to hold it in your mouth the whole time. So it's really best if you put a couple drops in, let that whole thing dissolve, add a few more drops, let that dissolve, and continue the process until the entire amount that you need is in. If you need a full dropper full and you stick that whole thing in your mouth, it takes quite some time for it to dissolve. Also, quite often it stimulates your saliva and you're not sure if you're actually dissolving it all or not. Hence the question, how long do I have to hold it in my mouth till I can swallow it? Now, proper use of a tincture can actually take a few minutes, and this can make it feel like we're taking medicine. This is one of the reasons why edibles are so popular. Pop a couple gummies in and off you go. Well, not only is it not as effective, but it's also not as healthy for you. When you digest CBD actually through the digestive tract, not only does it take a lot longer to get into your system, the enzymes can actually affect the CBD and how well it's going to get into your system, and then the liver becomes involved in the conversation. First of all, everyone's liver processes it at a different rate. Some people, their livers will actually process it out faster than their system can actually get it into them, so they may never even experience the CBD because the liver sucked it out so quickly. Other people, the livers just take forever to get it out, and that's why a very small amount seems to do a lot for them. This is one of the variables in people taking CBD and why it seems like some people need a lot and other people don't need as much. Using a tincture evens out this equation. Also, when it's going through the liver, there are certain medications that it can be a contraindication with, and that contraindication takes place at the liver enzyme level. If you are taking medications, you definitely should be checking with your doctor before you take anything else, even CBD. I hope this video has been helpful and enlightening on tinctures. If you did find it helpful, please press the like button, subscribe so you can get my future videos, and I'd appreciate it if you just share this video with someone who might find it useful. My name is Derek Baker, and this has been CBD with DB. Thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate you watching.